Here we're going to start in Genesis chapter 12. We're going to be introduced to a man by the name of Abram. Okay, later on, name changed to Abraham. And so we get to this person. He's very important in the history of our people because, as we know, again, the whole earth was filled with violence. Yahweh sent the destruction, sent the flood, wiped out the earth, started the family, the whole family of the earth with 8 people. And from that, we have, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And so later on down the line, as the earth begin to multiply, men began to gather themselves together in one place. They didn't want to scatter themselves, and they wanted to build a tower and make a name for themselves. And so Yahweh, bless his name,
Hallelujah,
looked down and saw this. The commandment was to go out and fill the earth, and they wanted to be in one place. So Yah scattered them by changing their language. As a result of that, we have the 70 nations, known today. But so we move to chapter 12, and we see a man by the name of Abraham or Abram. He's a very important person in this picture because beforehand, again, all the nations spoke one language. They all believed the same thing. And at the Tower of Babel, they were all engaged in sun worship. They're worshiping Nimrod, okay,
right.
the sun god.
Right. And
he's making a name for himself. Yahweh had no one to represent him on the earth. When after he destroyed the Tower of Babel, scattered the people among the nations.
Right.
Remember, when they left, they still had their memory fully intact. So when they left, they still had the same form of worship. They still had their knowledge. And that's why today you see the same type of worship that takes place in various different religions.
Right.
And you see many of them worship the sun.
Sunday worship.
Sunday worship, right. Okay? We were engaged. I was engaged in Sunday worship for about 40 years of my life. I didn't know any better. But anyway, so they worship the sun. Yahweh had no one to represent him. So in chapter 12, he chooses a man by the name of Abram. Let's look at this. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now Yahweh had said unto Abram, get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. So you notice this here? The men in Genesis chapter 11 at Tower of Babel were trying to make a name for themselves.
Right, right.
Yahweh chose Abram, okay, and the reason why he says, I'm going to make your name great, okay, and I'm going to make you a great nation. And so he chose Abram. Abram now began to, everywhere he went, he began to call on the name of Yahweh. He began to make the name of Yahweh known among the inhabitants where which he dwelt. So Yahweh's name is beginning to become great through Abraham. Okay? So now remember the promise he told him. He says, again, verse 3, and I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse them that curse you, and in you shall the families of the earth be blessed. So it's in Abram's seed that all the families of the earth be blessed. As we continue to read, we know this situation about Abram. Okay? Abram was 75 years old when Yah chose him. He had no descendants. Okay? Right. And yet Yah had promised him that he would have an heir. He would make him a nation. Now Abraham, okay, I believe you, but how is this going to happen?
Right.
So now we go down, we look in Genesis chapter 13. This is very important.
Okay.
Because there was a famine in the land. And Abram goes down into Egypt. This is very critical. Because what is taught, whatever happens to the fathers, happens to their children. Yahweh said in his word, I believe it's in Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 48. That let's go there. When he says, I will declare the end from the beginning. Let's go there for a minute. Isaiah 48.
You want to east word that?
Isaiah 48.
Declare is the word. Look up. 48 and 3.
48 and 3.
Yep.
I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them. I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. Notice he says, I declare the former things from the beginning. So if you want to know what Yahweh is going to do, always go back to the beginning. Because the beginning, okay, history is prophecy.
Right.
And prophecy is history. So Yahweh has declared he will show, demonstrate what he will do with the descendants of Abraham through Abraham. So now notice in Genesis chapter 13, look, it says, Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot and him unto the south. Do you notice what happened here? Okay, we go back. If we go back in this situation here, in this event, okay, it gives us the situation that Abram, let's say right here, verse 13. He's in Egypt. He says, "Say I pray thee," to his sister, to his wife Sarah, "that you're my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and my soul shall live because of you." And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken unto Pharaoh's house. And he entered Abram, and he entreated Abram well for his sake. And he...
For her sake.
For her sake, I'm sorry. And he had sheep and oxen and donkeys and men servants and maid servants and sheep, donkeys, and camels. And Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this that you have done unto me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why said you, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to be my wife. Now therefore, behold, your wife, take her and go your way." And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, that they send him away, that's Abram, and his wife and all that he had. And then here we go, Genesis 13:1. And Abram went out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. So do you notice what happened here?
Also, and Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold.
It's rich. So he went in, first of all, he had wealth when he went in.
Right.
But he left out of Egypt. He left out more wealth there. And this is a picture of his descendants. What happened to his descendants? Remember, Abraham's descendants, our forefathers, went into Egypt. When they went into Egypt, okay, eventually they became slaves in the land of Egypt.
Right.
And Yahweh raised up a deliverer by the name of Moshe. They say Moshe. And brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But how did he do it? Yahweh smote the Egyptians with plagues. Just like Yahweh smote Pharaoh with plagues, because he had a Sarah, Abram's wife, he smote the Egyptians with plagues because they had Yahweh's people. Okay?
Yahweh's bride.
His bride, okay? So they were smitten. And then remember, when our forefathers left Egypt, okay, they had spoiled the Egyptians. They left with much riches, cattle, silver, and gold.
And by the way, remember, in this account also, he told her, he said, he told Abram to take all that you got. Just go. Get out of here.
Get out. Take it. Just go. Leave.
Get out of here.
And so there's a picture. Egypt was spoiled. Okay.
Right.
Yahweh's showing a future event. Now, when we move on, so he leaves. He sets up camp. And then we find in chapter 14 or 13, his nephew Lot went into Sodom and Gomorrah, and got caught up in the world system. And Yahweh sent his Abram to go deliver his nephew Lot, and he delivered his nephew Lot. He brought him back, and there in chapter 14, he meets a man by the name of Melchizedek, Abraham, after the slaughter of 4 kings. And Melchizedek is a priest, a high priest of the Most High.
Right.
And there they break bread and wine.
Right.
Okay. And Melchizedek blesses Abram, and Abram pays tithes to Melchizedek. Well, we go from there, and in chapter 15, it reads, and after these things, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Fear not, Abram, I'm your shield and exceeding great reward.